What if I told you that asterisk the real test of loyalty isn't who stands beside you when you're broken, but who remains when you rise asterisk? This isn't just another speech about friendships or trust. This is a wake-up call to reevaluate the people you surround yourself with when things go right. Because when you start winning, when your life starts aligning, when your light begins to shine brighter, that's when the masks fall off. Some will celebrate you, others will retreat. And the difference between the two? It could shape the entire trajectory of your future. This message isn't for the faint of heart. It's for those ready to level up and face the uncomfortable truth. Not everyone who comforts you in the storm is capable of standing with you in the sunshine. In this video, we'll uncover the silent dynamics that shape your relationships, the hidden resistance to your success, and why emotional maturity matters more than shared struggle. You're about to learn how to protect your peace, honor your growth, and walk with people who push you forward, not pull you back. So don't just watch casually. Lean in, let this message challenge you. Let it inspire you. Because by the end of this video, you won't just think differently about who's around you. You'll asterisk feel empowered to choose better, love wiser, and rise stronger asterisk. Let's begin. When life goes wrong, support often arrives without asking. People show up, offer sympathy, lend a hand, and share in the weight of hardship. But what happens when life goes right? When you get the promotion, when the business starts thriving, when you finally win after years of effort, who do you call then? That question isn't just about celebration. It's a litmus test for who truly stands with you, not just beside you when things fall apart, but behind you when you rise. It's easy to love someone who is struggling, because struggle doesn't threaten anyone. Struggle creates connection through empathy. But success challenges people. It forces them to look at their own lives. It reflects back to them what they might not be doing, what they haven't yet become, or what they've given up on. That's why the people who cheer for you in your darkest moments aren't always the same ones who will cheer for you in your brightest. You see, true relationships are tested not only in suffering, but in celebration. Who you call when something good happens will reveal the real ones. Because in a world where envy often wears the mask of friendship, and comparison quietly poisons connection, it's rare to find someone who is genuinely happy for your happiness, without any hidden resentment or subtle competition. Those who show up with joy for your joy are the ones you should hold close. They don't flinch at your success. They don't need you to shrink, so they can feel bigger. They aren't secretly uncomfortable when you win. Instead, they smile wider, shout louder, and push you further. This truth matters not just for emotional health, but for your long-term growth. The people you surround yourself with in moments of success influence how high you're willing to go. If you are surrounded by those who only see your potential when you're hurting, you'll unconsciously keep yourself broken to maintain connection. You'll play small so others don't feel left behind. And you'll learn to hide your wins to protect their insecurities. But that's not growth. That's emotional imprisonment. And it's a cost too many pay just to stay liked. The ones who belong in your life are the ones who can handle both your tears and your triumphs. They are the people who clap when you speak your dreams out loud, not just when you mourn your disappointments. They ask, how can I help you grow even more? Not why are you changing? They don't get uncomfortable when your light gets brighter. They adjust their position so it can shine on both of you. Your wins don't make them feel less than. Your joy becomes their joy. That's how you know you're safe. So ask yourself honestly, when something good happens, who do you reach for? Who do you trust enough to say, it finally happened, without filtering your excitement or downplaying your achievement? If you hesitate, that hesitation is a signal. It tells you where loyalty ends and comfort begins. Because loyalty isn't about staying when things are tough. That's only half the story. Loyalty is proven when someone stays when things are changing for the better. When they see you elevate and they don't retreat. When your progress doesn't provoke their insecurity. When your growth inspires their own. The next time something beautiful unfolds in your life, pay close attention to who celebrates with you. That celebration is often the most honest mirror of their heart. And maybe, just maybe, that's the clarity you've needed all along. Most people build relationships around shared experiences, and more often than not, those shared experiences are rooted in pain, trauma, or struggle. It's human nature to bond over brokenness. We find comfort in those who understand our wounds. But while pain may be a common starting point, it should not be the foundation you build your future on. When your inner circle is built on mutual wounds rather than mutual values, You create an environment that feels familiar but not necessarily healthy. These kinds of connections can become emotional traps. You begin to believe that the only people who truly understand you are the ones who have suffered like you, and without even realizing it, you build a tribe that supports your past, but doesn't support your growth. There's nothing wrong with empathy or understanding, but the danger lies in staying bonded by wounds that were meant to heal. When you continue surrounding yourself with people who only relate to your lowest moments, you risk becoming someone who subconsciously remains in those moments just to keep the relationship alive. You start filtering your progress, downplaying your success, and resisting transformation just to avoid losing the people who were there for you when you were struggling. You begin to feel guilty for growing. That guilt keeps you tied to a version of yourself that's no longer serving your highest potential. And that's a tragedy most people never see coming. The truth is, your inner circle should reflect your values, not your wounds. Values are the core of who you are becoming. They are the driving force behind your decisions, your goals, your energy, and your future. When you choose people based on shared values, you align yourself with individuals who want to see you win, not just survive. These are the people who encourage healing, who push you to step into the next chapter, and who remind you of your strength when you start slipping back into old patterns. They don't need you to be broken to feel close to you. They're just as connected to your purpose as they were to your pain. That kind of alignment doesn't just lift your emotional well-being, it fuels your momentum. Because when you're surrounded by people who believe in your values, your environment becomes a mirror of your future, instead of a reminder of your past. Suddenly, your goals don't feel too big. Your ideas aren't dismissed. Your healing isn't threatening. You don't feel the need to explain why you're changing, because those around you are evolving too. Growth becomes normal, not uncomfortable. And that's when you know you're in the right room. But to get to that kind of space, you have to be willing to let go of the connections that only made sense when you were hurting. You have to get honest with yourself about who you've outgrown, not because they're bad people, but because they were only meant to walk with you through a certain season. It takes courage to say, "I'm not who I was," and allow that to change the dynamics of your relationships. It takes maturity to prioritize alignment over attachment. And it takes vision to stop choosing company that keeps you comfortable in the past. You were never meant to stay in survival mode. You were built for growth, impact, and purpose. The people you choose to keep close should reflect that reality. So when you think about your inner circle, ask yourself, are these people tied to my purpose, or are they only familiar with my pain? If you want to rise, start building your life around shared values, not shared suffering. That's how you build a future that doesn't just look better. It feels better too. Envy is one of the most deceptive emotions we encounter in relationships, especially during moments of success. It doesn't always show up with hostility. It doesn't always look like resistance. Often it wears a smile. It claps politely. It says the right words. "I'm so happy for you. You deserve this." That's amazing, but beneath those words there's an energy you can't ignore. It's not loud, it's subtle. It lingers in the pauses, in the hesitation, in the tone that doesn't quite match the message. And if you're paying attention, you'll sense it. That's envy hiding behind fake congratulations, and it's more common than we'd like to admit. We all want to believe that the people in our lives will be just as happy for our wins as they are supportive during our losses. But human nature doesn't always make that easy. People compare, people project, and when someone close to you sees you doing what they haven't yet done, it can trigger insecurity they're not ready to confront. Instead of saying, "I wish I could do that too," they bury that feeling and put on a smile. They try to be supportive, but deep down they're wrestling with jealousy. And instead of celebrating with you, they begin to resent you, silently, subtly, and sometimes unconsciously. This doesn't make them bad people. It makes them human. But it's dangerous to ignore. Because when you surround yourself with people who secretly envy you, your environment becomes one of hidden resistance. You'll feel it in the way they question your decisions, not out of curiosity but from a place of doubt. You'll hear it in the way they remind you of your past, as if to keep you grounded in who you used to be. You'll notice it when your wins are met with lukewarm energy, or quickly redirected conversations. These behaviors may seem small in the moment, but they compound over time and begin to erode your self-belief. When someone envies you, they often won't confront you directly. Instead, they'll subtly undermine your progress. They'll mask their discomfort with sarcasm, passive-aggressive comments, or by making your success feel like a burden. They'll pretend they're cheering for you, but their presence will leave you feeling drained instead of inspired. And if you're not careful, you'll internalize that energy. You'll start second-guessing yourself. You'll start shrinking to make others feel comfortable. You'll stop celebrating your wins out loud. You'll learn to hide your light to protect their shadows. And that's a tragedy, because your success should be a source of strength, not a trigger for someone else's weakness. The solution isn't to walk around suspicious of everyone. It's to trust your intuition and observe the energy behind the words. Real support is consistent. It's loud when you win. It's present when you rise. It doesn't feel like tension or hesitation. It feels like alignment. It feels like freedom. The people who truly celebrate you don't compete with you. They're not intimidated by your growth. They're inspired by it. They ask you how you did it, not to tear you down, but to learn how to rise alongside you. They don't flinch when you succeed. They flourish too. So as you grow, learn to listen beyond words. Watch the energy. Pay attention to how people react when you share good news. The ones who genuinely care will match your joy. They won't fake it. They won't hold back. They'll be loud, proud, and consistent. That's how you know it's real. And when you find those people, hold them close. Because in a world where envy is often disguised as support, authentic celebration is priceless. It's not about who says they're happy for you. It's about who shows it with their whole spirit. When life is hard, people gather. They bring comfort, empathy, and compassion. You're never short of shoulders to cry on, or ears willing to listen. Struggle brings people together, because it activates something primal in us. We are wired to help each other survive. But when life is good, when the storm is over and you're walking in the light, something shifts. The crowd thins. The check-ins slow down. The concern is replaced by silence. You begin to notice that some of the people who were there when you were at your lowest are suddenly distant when you're rising. It's a truth few are willing to admit. Not everyone who supports you in pain will support you in prosperity. There's a comfort in being the helper, the hero, the one who stood by you when things were tough. Some people find their identity in being needed. They thrive when you are dependent, when you are vulnerable, when you are unsure of yourself. They feel significant when they get to rescue you. But when you begin to heal, when you start believing in yourself. One of the most transformative aspects of creating meaningful change is understanding the power of influence. Influence is not about controlling others or manipulating situations to your advantage. It is about inspiring others through your example, your convictions, and your consistency. When you begin to change your life for the better, people watch even if they don't say it. Your actions speak far louder than your intentions. Influence starts with how you live when no one is looking, with how you treat people who can do nothing for you, and how you handle adversity when it comes knocking. This is what defines your integrity. And integrity is the bedrock of influence. Influence becomes powerful when it is rooted in authenticity. People don't follow perfection. They follow someone who is real. They are drawn to leaders who admit when they don't know, who ask questions instead of pretending to have all the answers, and who lead not with ego but with empathy. When you decide to create change in your own life, you are also choosing to create a ripple effect. The choices you make, the way you show up, how you handle setbacks, how you carry yourself when things get tough, these choices silently invite others to elevate their own standards. Influence isn't about being loud, it's about being clear. It's about being consistent. It's about staying committed to your values, especially when those values are tested. To be a person of influence, you must become someone who lifts others, not someone who merely points out what's wrong. You must learn to listen deeply, to understand what drives people, and to recognize their potential even when they don't. Change is not just an internal journey, it is also relational. Your growth impacts your community, your mindset affects your environment. When you lead yourself well, you become a catalyst for others. Influence spreads when people feel seen, heard, and valued. It's not about having a massive platform or a large following. It starts in small conversations, in consistent encouragement, and in your daily attitude. The most influential people are not always the ones speaking the loudest. They're often the ones serving the most, caring the most, and believing in others when no one else does. To truly create change, you have to shift from being a consumer of influence to becoming a creator of it. You stop waiting for someone to tell you what to do, and you start becoming the kind of person others look to for direction. You don't have to have all the answers. You just need to be willing to go first, to step out with courage, to live with purpose, and to walk with humility. Influence grows when your actions are aligned with your words and your life reflects your beliefs. That is what makes change contagious. It inspires others not because it's easy, but because it's true. People may resist advice, but they rarely ignore example. Your life becomes the evidence. Your consistency becomes your credibility. When people see that your transformation is real, they start to believe that theirs is possible too. That's the real power of influence. It multiplies change beyond yourself. Real change begins the moment we accept responsibility for our current reality. It's one of the hardest truths to embrace because it challenges every excuse we've ever made, every blame we've placed on others, and every story we've told ourselves about why things are the way they are. But this is the starting point of transformation. The courageous decision to stop pointing fingers and start looking in the mirror. Taking responsibility doesn't mean you're to blame for everything that's happened in your life. It means you acknowledge that your future is still your responsibility. You may not have chosen the pain, the setback, or the failure, but you can choose what happens next. That is where your power lies. When we stop playing the victim and start owning our choices, something shifts. We stop reacting to life and start responding with intention. We realize that while we can't always control the circumstances, we can always control how we show up. That shift in mindset is what separates those who stay stuck from those who move forward. Responsibility breeds resilience. When you take ownership, you stop waiting for a rescue and start building your own way out. You stop hoping someone will fix it and start doing what needs to be done. That kind of mindset attracts growth. It opens doors. It commands respect, not from others first, but from yourself. The reason many people never change is because they refuse to take responsibility. They want results without effort. They want growth without discomfort. But lasting change demands that you get honest about what needs to change. It demands that you stop blaming your upbringing, your boss, your partner, or the system, and start asking, what can I do about it? That's not weakness. That's strength. It's one of the most mature decisions a person can make. And the moment you do it, you stop giving your power away to everything outside of you. You reclaim it. This is also where confidence is born, not from perfection, but from participation. From knowing you're doing your part, even if it's not perfect. Every small act of responsibility adds a brick to the foundation of a new life. The power of responsibility is that it multiplies over time. It sharpens your awareness, disciplines your focus, and accelerates your growth. It changes how you talk, how you work, how you relate to others. You begin to live with a quiet authority because you know you're not waiting on life to hand you anything. You're taking ownership of what you can control, and that's more than enough to create change. The truth is, no one is coming to save you. That's not meant to be discouraging. It's meant to be empowering. You are the one you've been waiting for. You are the one who can shift your direction, break the pattern, and create a future that reflects who you truly are. And it starts when you stop hiding behind excuses and start living with accountability. When you own your choices, you own your future. And that's how change begins. When you stop giving away your power and start using it to build something better. Change in its truest form is not a single moment, it's a sustained movement built on daily commitment. Many people wait for a lightning bolt of inspiration or a dramatic life event to jolt them into transformation. But those who genuinely create change don't rely on emotional spikes. They depend on discipline. They understand that the key to lasting progress is doing the small things repeatedly, even when no one is watching, even when motivation runs dry. The world often applauds breakthroughs, but the real heroes of change are the ones who keep showing up when it's boring, inconvenient, or hard. Commitment doesn't shout, it whispers. It's not glamorous. It's not always Instagram worthy, but it is powerful. And it is where the battle is either won or lost. The truth is, real change is invisible at first. It doesn't come with immediate rewards. There are no standing ovations when you choose to wake up early to write, to train, to pray, to learn. No one celebrates you for resisting old habits or choosing a better response when your emotions flare. But these are the very decisions that shape who you become, and only the committed understand that these daily choices matter more than any single milestone. Consistency is the fuel of transformation. You don't get fit by going to the gym once. You don't become wise by reading one book. You don't build trust in a day. Change requires rhythm, not rush. It's a dance between effort and endurance. And if you stay in that rhythm, you start to notice something extraordinary. You begin to believe in yourself on a deeper level. You begin to develop internal credibility. You start to trust your own word, because you're no longer driven by fleeting emotion, you're grounded in purpose. This is when the shift happens. When you stop chasing inspiration and start honoring commitment, you stop needing motivation to move forward. You don't wait for perfect conditions. You act rain or shine. You show up because that's who you are now. Not because it feels good, but because you've decided it's what matters most. That's where real growth lives, not in flashes of intensity, but in the quiet fire of persistence. People often underestimate what they can accomplish in a year and overestimate what they can achieve in a week. But when you commit to the process, the results begin to take care of themselves. The body changes, the mindset transforms, the relationships improve, the vision becomes clearer. You didn't get there overnight, and you know it. You built it one disciplined decision at a time. That's why it lasts, because it was forged through sacrifice, self-control, and a relentless refusal to quit. Change becomes part of your character, not just your behavior. There's power in deciding that no matter how you feel, you will keep going. That no matter how far you have to go, you will not stop short. That you are no longer negotiating with your future, you are committed to it. That is the kind of resolve that creates momentum. And momentum is a force few things can stand against. Don't wait for the conditions to be right. Don't wait to feel ready. Just decide. Decide to be the one who follows through, who doesn't flinch when it gets tough, who keeps the promise they made to themselves. That's how change becomes real. Through consistent action, done on purpose, every single day, at the heart of every meaningful transformation, lies not a single moment of brilliance, but 1,000 quiet, steady steps taken when no one is watching. The power of consistent action is not flashy, but it is unstoppable. It builds character when you feel like quitting. It builds strength when you feel weak. And it builds results when you stay faithful to the process, long after the feeling of motivation has faded. Consistency is what bridges the gap between intention and impact, between vision and reality. No matter your goal, your dream, or your calling, if you commit to small, deliberate, courageous actions day after day, you will look back one day and realize that you didn't just change your life, you rebuilt it. You redesigned it. You transformed it. Because you showed up even when it was hard. Thank you for watching and being part of this journey. If this message stirred something inside you, if it reminded you of your power, your purpose, and your potential, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, subscribe for more life-changing content, and share it with someone who needs a spark of hope today. You are capable of incredible things, and I'm honored to walk this path with you. Let's keep moving forward, one consistent action at a time.